I do want to ask you about something in the Times today. It says, it seems extraordinary to me, that you've admitted that you showed apparent bias in unlawfully intervening to approve a planning decision in favour of Richard Desmond's company in London when the council and the inspector had ruled against it. So you admit you showed apparent bias towards a Tory donor?
Well, it's not appropriate for me to get into individual planning applications. Obviously, as Housing Secretary...
Well, it's a matter of record. You have admitted, apparent bias in this case. And what does that mean?
Well, I can assure you that we took this decision, as we do all decisions, on the merits. We absolutely refute any suggestion of bias, but we did
Well, hang on, wait a minute. Either you've admitted apparent bias, as reported in the Times today, or you haven't. Have you admitted apparent bias?
No, we said that there is no bias, but that because issues were raised, for absolute fairness, we would quash the decision and enable it to be retaken if that's what the applicant wants, and that will be retaken, as is the usual way, by a different minister. So that was done for complete fairness, and the decision, if the applicant wishes to do so, can be retaken at a later stage.
Well, the applicant, of course, is the person who benefits from this, so I don't think that's particularly meaningful. But this is being quoted. I just want to get this on the record. Have you admitted officially, this is what the Times is saying, that you showed, quotes, apparent bias in unlawfully intervening to approve this planning application?
Well, the way that the court process works is that if you want to retake the decision, then you have it quashed in the court. That's what we've done, and that enables it to be retaken if the applicant wishes that to be the case. We obviously don't believe that we acted inappropriately or that we showed actual bias.
Hang on. Look, I'm just trying to establish the facts here. The Times is reporting, I've just read it out to you, that you have accepted that you showed apparent bias in unlawfully intervening to approve this application by Richard Desmond's company, a man who supports the Conservatives and has donated to the Conservatives. I'm just asking you, factually, in the legal process, have you admitted that you showed apparent bias?
The legal process sets out that the way the decision was taken could give rise to the appearance of bias, but obviously we reject that there was any actual bias, and that's why, for complete fairness, the department decided that the decision could be retaken by a different minister, and that may well happen if the applicant wishes to do so in the future.
Because, of course, the reason why the inspector and the council were against it was because there wasn't enough social housing, enough housing for poor people.
Well, I hope you'll respect this. It's not appropriate for me to get into the details of individual planning applications.
Well, you're the bloke who takes the decision. You've taken a decision in this case, so I think it is appropriate.
Well, if I can just explain, it is true that the government is keen to get more homes built, and there's a consistent record by this government and indeed by me as Secretary of State that we've tried to ensure that homes get built, particularly in London, where development has been too slow in recent years. So we have
but you see, the local council said there weren't enough affordable homes, social houses, for the people who need them. There may have been apartments for rich people who live abroad, and that may help Mr. Desmond's company. But the issue is, this is a typical example of a scheme in London where the authorities said there weren't enough social houses and you have intervened to approve it. That's the circumstance, isn't it?
Well, that isn't quite right. It's obviously, it is more complicated than that, but it is correct that we judged that the benefit of more homes outweighed some of the other concerns with the project.
Yeah, this is more expensive homes, though. Fewer cheaper homes and more expensive homes
built across the country. Well, we want to get more homes of all kinds built, obviously in the right places, and you judge each application on its own merits, but we want to get more homes built of all kinds. We're doing that in a number of different ways, supporting developments, but also investing in affordable housing as well. And we're bringing forward the largest ever affordable homes programme, for example, which was announced at the budget, that will enable us to build thousands more homes which are available to people on low incomes. We're also bringing forward our signature home ownership policy, First Homes, that will give a 30% discount to first-time buyers and to key workers like nurses and care workers to get their first step on the housing ladder.
Well, I want to move on and talk about the homeless, but just one final question on this issue. With hindsight, do you accept that you were wrong to intervene and you shouldn't have approved this development?
Well, we judged it on the merits, and that was done without any actual bias. But clearly the way that the process was run gave rise to some concerns, and so that's why we've chosen to quash the decision by agreement with the other parties and to have it redetermined. I think that's the fairest way to proceed now.